Please subscribe to the Eyes of Owen.
Owen, I love you too much.
Huh?
I love you long time. You will forget me.
Okay, so Nat is trying to teach me how to talk in Thai. And we've got to the word for mouth. Is that right? Mouth? Ba.
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 I'm saying the same thing. Ba.
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 I think I'm just going to give up. I just can't speak Thai. I have to show you this, guys. I've not been feeling very well, and I'm being looked after by my favourite bar girl. Girl I spent quite a bit of time with. Lovely, lovely girl. Really seems to like me as well. And yeah, so I'm kind of just in the room at the moment. I've been for the last couple of days. And she's really looking after me. She's bringing me food, bringing me medicine, going to the pharmacy for me. She came over, stayed last night as well. She's just absolutely fantastic. What an amazing girl. And she sent me a message before, asked me whether I was hungry, and I said yes. She said, "What kind of food you like?" And I told her, and then I was surprised. I was sort of just on my bed reading, and then the bell went on my door, and yeah, she just bought the food for me. And just have a look at this. It's this looks pretty good, doesn't it? Fried rice. Well, that looks nice. It's got an egg on top. I think that one's hers. That looks good. This one just fried rice. She asked me what I wanted, and to be honest, bit of a dodgy stomach. I just said to her, play it safe, fried rice and some spring rolls. So I think the spring rolls are in here. I think the fried rice is in her. I think this one is hers. I think hers looks the best one, actually. I do love an egg on a rice kind of mince dish. It's quite. I don't know. Is that a northern Thai thing? I'm not too sure. Yeah, this looks good. I don't know how I'm going to react to it, mind, but I'll certainly give it a go. Yeah, that'll do for a snack. Some sauce at the bottom here as well. Bet they're spicy. But yeah, what a great girl, bringing me food. She's feeding me. She's nursing me, and she's properly looking after me. Okay, so Nat said to me the other day one of the most romantic things I've ever had said to me. She said, would you like to say? She said, "I'm not scared of COVID. I scare we not see each other again." Isn't that the most romantic thing ever? The end of my trip to Thailand ended up being affected because I ended up getting COVID. It's the first time I ever had it. And it started off, I just had a very, very minor tickle in my throat. I wouldn't even call it a cough, really. Didn't really think much of it. But then I went to bed. It was about 5 or 6 days before the end of the trip. Went to bed one night and I had a bit of a shiver, a little bit of a temperature. So next day I went to a pharmacy. Well, actually it was a 7-Eleven. And the pharmacies and 7-Elevens, they've all got loads of the lateral flow tests. Got myself a handful of them. Tested myself and yeah, it came back positive. First time I've had it. Like I say, very, very minor symptoms. You know, I wouldn't even call it a cough, really. A little bit of a temperature. But even though I had minor symptoms, I decided to do the responsible thing and decided to self-isolate. Basically just lock myself in a room until I got negative. And it looked as though the trip would really fizzle out. You know, I made this decision. I was just going to stay in the room. I put the do not disturb sign on the door so the cleaner didn't come in. I was just surviving on snacks. I thought my time in Thailand was going to come to an end. Me on my own in a hotel room feeling sorry for myself. But actually, it ended quite differently, really. It ended with in a positive way, in a strange kind of a way. I had actually promised a girl called Nat, one of my favourite girls of the trip, a girl who I met in a bar in Treetown. Really liked her. I'd already spent one night with her. And because my trip was coming towards an end, I promised her that I was going to pay a BF on another night and we were going to go to Pattaya Beach Club. Going to have another really, really good night with her. And I'd made that promise to her before I knew I had COVID. So when I found out I had COVID, I sent her a photo of the positive test. I sent her a message saying, "Oh, bad news, I've got COVID. It looks like we're not going to be able to meet." And then she replied with one of the most romantic things a girl has ever said to me. She sent me a message and she said, "I'm not scared of COVID. I'm scared we not see each other again." How romantic is that? And she went on to tell me that she'd had COVID just a month before. And obviously, if you've had COVID, then you can't catch it again straight away. So she agreed to come over, to come round and look after me. So she paid her own BF, and then she came over to my room around about 4 o'clock. And she was fantastic. She did my shopping for me. She bought snacks for the room, drinks, got a few beers. She bought food, which we had on the balcony. We had a little romantic meal for two on the balcony with some food and some alcoholic drinks. And she also told me that amoxicillin, it's amoxicillin, is really good for reducing symptoms. So she went to the pharmacy. So yeah, she was fantastic. She fed me, she nursed me, she looked after me, and it was fantastic. And of course, also she was great company. Spent the night, we chatted. She showed me loads of photos on her phone. She told me all about her family, and we got really, really close. And it ended up, it could have been a disastrous night, me on my own, but it ended up being a fantastic night, being looked after by this beautiful bar girl. Almost whenever I speak to the girls in the bars, I always ask them where they're from, and almost every single girl that I've spoken to on this trip are either from Buriram or Surin, from Isan, but she wasn't. She was from Phitsanulok, which is a city kind of between Bangkok and Chiang Mai. I've actually been there before. It's very close to the old ancient capital of Sukhothai. And I've actually been there before. We worked out that when I was there, she would have been just 11 years old. But yeah, she was fantastic to talk to, really got to know her well. She spent the night and she looked after me in just about every way. And yeah, we had a really nice time. fell asleep arm in arm. What a fantastic girl. Really, 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 really beautiful girl. And incidentally, I also got some interesting insight about COVID from a few of the other bar girls, because I sent them messages online, and one of the girls told me, "Don't worry about it, just come out anyway." She told me that's what all the girls do. I told her that my symptoms were quite minor, and she said, just come out. But I didn't want to do that. I would have felt guilty if I passed it on to anyone else, so I ended up isolating myself. But I actually spoke to another girl, and she explained that the Thai people, they're very obedient people, and earlier on in the pandemic, they followed all the instructions to the letter. But she said that with this latest weaker strain, the Omicron variant, people have generally just been working through it, or they've been maybe just taking a day or two off work, and then as soon as the worst symptoms are over, they just come back into work. She told me that a while back, girls needed to have a negative test to be able to work each day in the bars, but now the bars no longer really enforce it. So yeah, it was interesting getting that insight from the girls. So anyway, next morning, I gave Nat money to cover her BF, which was only 300 baht. I paid her for LT, which was 2,000 baht. And of course, I also reimbursed her for all the shopping she did for me. And also a generous tip just to show my gratitude, because she really looked after me. She was absolutely fantastic. And I actually asked her, "Do you want to stay with me again that night as well?" And she agreed. And I gave her the option of actually working, because I think it was a Thursday night. It was a busy night. I gave her the option of going into work, making a bit of money with the lady drinks, but she wasn't having any of that. As soon as she started work at 3 p.m, she paid her own BF again, and she came over, and for the second night running, completely looked after me in my hotel room. So for 2 nights in a row, she looked after me, fed me, nursed me. Oh, absolutely fantastic. And we got really, really close as a result. And also, I got the impression she really wanted to leave a lasting impression as well. She was a very tactile girl anyway, very affectionate. But on the last night, yeah, she let's just say she made sure she gave me a memory that I wouldn't forget when I got back to England. And absolutely fantastic. So like I say, my trip could have ended disastrously. I could have spent it alone in my hotel room. I could have ended up in a quarantine hotel, but I ended up being looked after by this beautiful bar girl. Stayed over 2 nights in a row. Absolutely fantastic. And she bought me a handful of these COVID tests, and each day I test myself, and it was positive. And on the day I was due to fly home, tested myself, and I was negative, which was a big relief, because I was worried I was going to end up having to stay in Thailand, possibly have to fork out for one of these quarantine hotels. You know, I had the insurance lined up, but it looked as though it could end up being just a real pain in the backside to have to organise. But like I say, on the morning of the flight, I tested negative. So I packed up, went to the airport, and flew home without trouble. They had like temperature sensors there, and I was absolutely fine. So just in the nick of time, I tested negative, and I was able to get back to England. But because I had tested negative on the morning of my last day, it gave me one last chance to meet up with Sam. And by the way, Sam, he's been my wingman for this trip. We've been out most nights. He caught COVID at the exact same time as me, tested positive at the exact same time, and he also tested negative on the exact same day as me as well. And we worked it out. It probably took us maybe 4 or 5 days from getting the symptoms, testing positive, to testing negative again. So yeah, we were able to meet up one last time. We went to the sports lounge on Soy Bacau. We had breakfast, and we were able to reminisce about the trip. We were able to talk about what a good time we'd had, and reminisce about some of the girls we'd met. And it was absolutely fantastic. Really good to be able to catch up with him and share the stories. It would have been really disappointing to have gone back to England without being able to say goodbye properly. So that's how my trip ended. Didn't end how I expected, really. Normally, at the end of a trip, I like to end with a bit of a flourish. Plenty of girls, and I wasn't able to do that, obviously. That was disappointing. But I was, in a strange way, it ended in a really nice way because, okay, I had COVID, but I had this beautiful bar girl looking after me. Really, really nice, a really memorable experience. I'll definitely keep in touch with her. I'm back in England now. I've already sent a lot of messages online. I'll definitely meet up with her again. She was absolutely fantastic, and it ended up being quite a nice way to end the trip in a strange kind of a way. It'd been a fantastic trip as well. Really, really good trip. I wasn't really sure what to expect before this trip, obviously with all the COVID restrictions, but actually it was brilliant. And we all know that the number of girls are down. We know that certain businesses are closed. We know that the go-go bars aren't operating as go-go bars. And we know all of that. And we know that Thailand isn't in top gear at the moment. But it's still fantastic. I was there for 5 weeks in total. Spent a week in Krabi, then a week in Pattaya, then I visited Bangkok, Chiang Rai, and then I went back to Pattaya for 10 days. And I had a great holiday, did a lot of really good touristy stuff. But then in places like Bangkok and Pattaya, met lots and lots of girls. I spent some quality time with 22 girls in total. I had some fantastic massages. I had a lot of really good nights out. Pattaya's a lot of fun. I mean, even with a lot of the businesses being closed and the various COVID restrictions, there's still a lot of girls about, a lot of pretty girls, and I had a really, really memorable trip. Before the trip, I wasn't sure what to expect. And, I was even thinking, should I go? Should I take the risk? And I decided to do it, and I'm really glad I did. It was one of the best holidays I've been on. It was much needed as well. I hadn't been away for 2 years because of obviously the pandemics, the travel bans, all that kind of stuff. So just to get away was fantastic, and to actually have such a good time and meet all these girls, absolutely brilliant. So guys, probably some of you are watching this video now and wondering whether you should go out to Thailand. My advice is just go for it.
Got me free t-shirt. You won't get it free, you'll have to pay for it.
Why you won't make me do?